Sometimes the coldest betrayals don't come with raised voices or slammed doors. They arrive in the quiet moments we hoped would hold us together. As the Stoics teach, you may not control the circumstances, but you can choose how to meet them. In that sterile delivery room, where new life was about to begin, Lily Evans faced the end of something else entirely. The snow pounded against the windows of St. Francis Medical Center with a ferocity that mirrored the storm raging in Lily's chest. Her fingers clutched the stiff white sheets of the gurney, each contraction pulling her body into a painful arc, pain that cut deeper than flesh and bone. Her chestnut hair clung in wet strands to her flushed face, and her hazel eyes shone not just with physical agony, but with a more haunting kind of sorrow. "Jason," she whispered, turning her head slightly, searching for her husband's familiar presence. "Please, just hold my hand." But Jason Christopher Evans stayed where he was, leaning against the pale green wall. His arms were folded across his chest, broad and unmoving. The steel-gray eyes she once found as calming as a quiet lake now felt frigid and distant. His jet-black hair was perfectly styled, untouched by the moment. He glanced at his phone for the third time in 5 minutes. "You don't need me here," he said, voice flat and cutting. "The nurses have it under control." Something inside Lily cracked, something untouched by the pain of labor. Even in her hospital scrubs, the same ones she wore daily as a trauma nurse, she had never felt more exposed, more alone. The scuffed white sneakers on her feet felt like a metaphor now, practical, exhausted, unseen. "Our son is coming," she said, her voice breaking. "You can't just—" "Our son?" he interrupted, letting out a sharp, bitter laugh. "You think I want to be here? You think I wanted any of this?" A fresh wave of pain overtook her, and Lily screamed, her fingernails burrowing into the bedding. When it passed, she opened her eyes. Jason was standing there, still, but now typing rapidly on his phone. The glow from the screen lit his face like something ghostly. "Who are you texting?" she asked, though the answer was already written across her mind. The door creaked open, and a nurse stepped in, checking the monitors. "Everything okay in here?" "Everything's fine," Jason said quickly, sliding his phone away. But Lily had already seen the name on the screen. Monica. Hours later, when baby Oliver finally cried his first breath into the sterile air, Lily held him close, tears streaming down her cheeks. He was perfect. Small, strong-fisted, and dark-haired like her. And when his eyes blinked open, she saw something she thought she'd lost. Hope. "He's beautiful," she whispered, kissing his forehead. Jason stepped forward for the first time since they'd arrived. For a fleeting second, Lily thought maybe, just maybe, this moment would shift something between them. That the arrival of their son could remind them of love. But Jason's words cut like shattered glass. "This was a mistake, Lily. All of it. You, me, him. All of it." Silence fell. Thick, suffocating, broken only by Oliver's soft whimpers and the mechanical beeping nearby. Lily stared at the man she'd trusted, loved, built a life with. Now all she saw was a stranger. "What are you saying?" she murmured, her voice barely audible over the sound of her own breaking heart. Jason adjusted the cuff of his designer watch, a motion she now understood wasn't about time, but about distance, a way to keep his feelings locked away. She now recognized it for what it was, his way of walling off discomfort. "I'm saying I can't do this anymore," Jason said, his tone stripped of warmth. "The family thing, it's just not me. And Oliver, he'll be better off without a dad who doesn't want to be here." His words didn't land like a scream. They landed like a slow, quiet collapse, like the foundation of her life was quietly giving way beneath her feet while no one else seemed to notice. She sat frozen, unsure if she should scream, beg, or simply let go. He was already walking toward the door. "You're on your own, Lily. Always were good at that anyway. Being alone." The door clicked shut behind him, not with force, but with a softness that somehow landed harder than a slam ever could. Lily stared down at Oliver, sleeping quietly in her arms, his tiny chest rising and falling in perfect innocence. He had no idea his world had just fractured before it had even begun. She kissed the crown of his head, the taste of salt from her tears mingling with the scent of baby shampoo. Her arms tightened protectively, almost instinctively, as if shielding him from a pain he couldn't yet understand, but that she now carried for them both. Outside in Denver, snow blanketed the streets in quiet white. It would soon turn to slush and grime, but for now, the silence was pure. In that hospital room, Lily held her baby closer to her chest and made a silent vow. No one would ever make her feel this small again. The smell of instant coffee and cleaning spray had become Lily's new morning routine, a bitter scent that matched her new reality. 3 weeks after Oliver's birth, she sat in the staff break room at 5:47 a.m., her hazel eyes scanning the to-do list on her phone. Buy diapers, pay the electric bill, call pediatrician, find cheaper apartment. Her need for structure, classic Capricorn, kept her grounded, even when everything felt like it was falling apart. The squeak of her worn sneakers echoed against the linoleum floor as she shifted in the plastic chair, trying to stretch her modest paycheck far enough to cover both rent and groceries this week. Her fingers nervously traced the rim of her coffee cup, something she started doing after Jason left. "You look like you haven't slept since last year," came a voice she knew well. Lily looked up to see Jasmine Marie Carter standing nearby, her ever-bright smile in place, dressed in her usual mismatched scrubs. Today's outfit had yellow moons on the top and teal polka dots on the pants. Her colorful braids were pulled back with a pink scrunchie as she sat across from Lily. "Just the usual new mom fatigue," Lily replied, mustering a tired smile that didn't touch her eyes. Jasmine's expression softened. "Honey, I've seen new mom fatigue. This is something deeper." She leaned in, her voice dropping to a hush. "You haven't heard from him at all?" Lily's phone buzzed on the table. Both women looked down at the screen, a tagged Instagram photo. Lily's stomach turned as she recognized the familiar hand, manicured to perfection, lifting a champagne glass. Jason's watch sat on the wrist beside it. The caption read, "New chapter with my king. Blessed. Growth." "That's her, isn't it?" Jasmine asked, her usual playfulness now replaced with something sharper. Lily nodded, unable to form the words. Monica Alana Rivers looked flawless in the photo. Her long braids, accented with gold beads, shimmered under soft lighting. The deep crimson dress hugged her in all the right places, elegant and powerful. Her espresso-colored eyes gleamed with a confidence that pierced right through the screen. Everything Lily felt she wasn't. Sophisticated, magnetic, wanted. 3 weeks, Lily whispered. "Oliver's only 3 weeks old, and Jason's already out here posting pictures with her like we never even existed." Jasmine reached across the table and wrapped her hand gently around Lily's. "Listen to me, girl," she said, her voice firm but caring. "That man is showing you exactly who he is, and thank God he's doing it now, not 5 years from now after wasting more of your time." Before Lily could answer, her phone rang. Unknown caller. "Against better judgment," she answered. "Lily?" The voice on the other end was unsure, almost apologetic. It took a moment to register. It was Jason's mother, Elaine. "Elaine?" Lily's voice cracked. "I just heard about what Jason did, about him leaving." There was a pause heavy with guilt and shame. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I raised him better than this." Lily's eyes stung with fresh tears. Elaine had always been warm, that welcoming, like family from the beginning. "I don't know what I did wrong," Lily admitted softly. "You didn't do anything wrong," Elaine said, voice resolute. "This is about him, his decisions. But Lily, there's something I think you need to know." Lily's heart clenched. "What about her?" This isn't new," Elaine said, the words clearly painful for her to say. "There were others. While you two were still married, Monica is just the one who finally convinced him to walk away." Elaine's voice cracked with shame. "I went by his apartment yesterday. She was there, and she made it clear this wasn't spontaneous. She's been planning this with him for months." The breath left Lily's lungs like she had been punched. Her mind scrambled, tracing back memories. Nights he worked late, calls that went to voicemail, the sudden distance he'd chalked up to stress. All of it. The signs had been there, but she had chosen hope over suspicion. Love over doubt. The walls of the break room suddenly seemed too close, too warm. Lily gripped the phone tighter. "Months." "I'm so sorry, honey," Elaine said again, voice trembling. "You deserve to know the truth. This wasn't some spur-of-the-moment thing. It was calculated. And that beautiful baby boy of yours? He deserves better, so much better." When the call ended, Lily just sat there, still, quiet, stunned. Jasmine still held her hand, but it didn't stop the hollow ache building in Lily's chest. The betrayal wasn't just that Jason had left, but that he had planned to. That Monica had been in their life all along, like a shadow in waiting. What did she say? Jasmine asked softly. Lily turned to her. This woman who, in just 3 weeks, had shown her more kindness and loyalty than Jason had in 3 years of marriage. She said Monica had been around for months, and that Jason— Lily's voice broke slightly— he'd been seeing others the whole time. She said it was all planned, that Monica's been around for months, Lily said, her voice low. Jasmine's expression darkened instantly. That snake, both of them. She grabbed her phone. You know I'm about to. No. Lily's voice surprised even herself with its sudden strength. Don't. They're not worth it. But even as the words left her mouth, something shifted inside her. Not just hurt anymore, but something hotter, sharper. Anger. Clear, focused, energizing. Her phone buzzed again. Another Instagram notification. This time, a direct message. From Monica. Hope you're doing well. Just wanted you to know Jason is so much happier now. Sometimes people just grow apart, you know? Lily stared at the message, her hands trembling slightly. Then, for the first time in weeks, she smiled. It wasn't a joyful smile, but it was real. Jasmine, she said quietly, I think I need to make a new list. The tiny apartment on the west side of Denver wasn't much, but it was theirs. Lily stood in the doorway, Oliver sleeping in his carrier at her feet, surveying their new home. 1 bedroom. A kitchenette that barely earned the name. A living room smaller than her old walk-in closet. The smell of stale smoke and something vaguely burnt still lingered from the last tenant. It's perfect, she whispered, and meant it. 2 months had passed since that day in the hospital break room, and she had checked off every single item on her list. Find cheaper housing, done. Apply for assistance programs, done. Research night classes, done. Block Jason and Monica on all platforms, done. Though not before screenshotting Monica's cruel message and saving it for her lawyer. Her phone rang as she tried to guide Oliver's carrier through the narrow doorframe. She recognized the number now. Miss Cooper? Said the friendly voice on the line. This is Mrs. Martinez from Oak Hill Daycare. I'm calling about your application for our sliding scale program. Lily's heart raced. This daycare, she said, almost breathless, it means I can start picking up night shifts again. I'm happy to tell you, Mrs. Martinez replied, you've been approved. You can start bringing Oliver in on Monday. Lily sank onto the second-hand couch she'd bought for $50, her whole body exhaling. Thank you so much. After hanging up, she opened her notes app. Her list had grown longer. Enroll in business management classes. Start a college fund for Oliver. Buy work-appropriate clothes. Learn how to stop crying over what's his name. That last one made her almost laugh. Jasmine had typed it into her phone one afternoon over coffee, declaring it a medically necessary part of your recovery, girl. A knock at the door pulled her from her thoughts. She peeked through the peephole. A delivery man stood there, holding a massive bouquet of red roses. Her stomach turned. Surely Jason wouldn't. Delivery for Lily Cooper? The man asked. Her fingers shook as she opened the envelope attached to the bouquet. But the card wasn't from Jason. It was from Elaine, Jason's mother. For Oliver's nursery. You're stronger than you know. Elaine. Lily pressed the card to her chest, unexpected tears clouding her vision. It was the first bouquet she'd received since her wedding day. She arranged the roses carefully on the small table by the window, their vibrant red petals a burst of life in the gray apartment. That night, long after she'd put Oliver to sleep, Lily lay awake staring at the ceiling. The quiet should have felt peaceful, but it pressed in on her chest like a weight. She could still hear the hospital monitors, still feel the cold plastic of the delivery bed beneath her. Her body ached, but it was the emptiness beside her that hurt more. She turned on her side, facing the crib. The rhythmic rise and fall of Oliver's breathing brought her comfort, but also fear. What if she wasn't enough? What if she couldn't be both mother and father? She'd never imagined raising a child alone. And now, even though her arms held love, her heart carried exhaustion. She remembered reading about postpartum blues in nursing school, how emotions crash after birth, how strength doesn't always look like smiles. Maybe this is what it was? Or maybe this was grief. Grief for the life she thought she'd have. Later that evening, as she fed Oliver his bottle, her laptop was open to the Denver Community College website. And for the first time in months, Lily felt something unfamiliar. Possibility. The business management program offered evening classes, With the daycare support she'd just secured, she could actually make this work. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jasmine. "Girl, you need to see this. Check Monica's Instagram." Against her better judgment, Lily opened the app. There it was. Monica, posing in a candlelit restaurant, her braids in a sleek updo, diamond earrings sparkling. The caption read, "When your man knows how to treat a real woman. Some girls just don't understand what love really means." But it wasn't the caption that made Lily's chest tighten. It was the location tag. Riviere, the same upscale bistro where Jason had proposed to her 3 years ago, saying it would always be their place. Lily stared at the screen in silence. Then, to her own surprise, she laughed, out loud. So suddenly that Oliver looked up, eyes wide and curious, his hazel eyes a perfect mirror of her own. "You know what, baby boy?" she said softly, brushing a kiss across his forehead. "Your daddy thinks he's living some kind of fairy tale, but fairy tales are for dreamers. And your mama? She's about to make some real-life magic." She turned back to her laptop and clicked Apply Now. As she filled out the college application, every keystroke felt like a small act of rebellion, of reclamation. Not hope, not yet, but something stronger. Determination. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Something in her gut told her to answer. Lily. It was Jason. Her heart stuttered. She hadn't heard his voice in 2 months. Now it felt like touching a live wire. "What do you want?" she asked flatly. "I thought, maybe we should talk. About Oliver. About us." Lily looked down at her son, reaching for a finger with his tiny hand. She thought of Elaine's roses, the daycare approval, the college form still open on her screen. She thought of Monica's smug captions, of Jason's cold, cutting words in that delivery room. "There's nothing to talk about," she said, her voice firm. "You made your choice. Lily, come on. I think I made a mistake." "No." She stood, walking to the window where Elaine's roses soaked in the fading golden light. "You didn't just make a mistake, Jason. You made a decision. A very conscious one. And now I'm making mine." Silence stretched over the line. When he finally spoke again, that old edge of irritation crept into his tone. "You're being dramatic. I'm trying to make things right." Lily laughed, quiet, but bitter. The right thing would have been staying in that hospital room. The right thing would have been not plotting your exit while I was carrying your child. "Don't call me again, Jason. We're done." She hung up before he could respond. Her fingers trembled, but as she looked around the room, at the flowers, her sleeping baby, the glowing laptop screen, she felt something she hadn't in months. Herself. Her phone buzzed again, another unknown number. "You'll regret this. He's mine now, and he's never coming back to someone like you." Lily read the message twice. Then she deleted it. She had more important things to focus on than Monica's insecurity. She had a future to shape. The classroom at Denver Community College smelled faintly of burnt coffee and old textbooks, but to Lily, it might as well have been perfume. She sat quietly in the back row of healthcare administration fundamentals, Oliver's diaper bag tucked at her feet, multitasking between scribbling notes and checking her phone for daycare updates. 8 months had passed since Jason walked out. And finally, she could breathe again. The key to effective healthcare management, Professor Morales was saying, is understanding that every choice you make affects real people. You're not just managing numbers, you're managing hope. Lily underlined the word hope twice in her notebook. Such a small word, but one that had felt foreign to her for far too long. Her fingers lingered on the page. She remembered the days when hope felt like a stranger, when each morning was a battle just to get out of bed. Now, sitting in this classroom with the hum of fluorescent lights and the scratch of pens around her, she realized this was her comeback. Quiet, steady, but undeniably hers. After class, she hustled through the linoleum hallway to the daycare center. Her worn sneakers squeaked with every step, shoes that had carried her through more than she could have imagined, and yet somehow were still holding strong. "Mama!" Oliver's little voice called as she entered the brightly lit room. His tiny arms stretched toward her. At 10 months old, he was already determined to pull himself upright, stubborn and strong-willed. Traits Lily hoped would serve him better than they had served her. "How's my big boy today?" she asked, scooping him up. "Wonderful, as always," Mrs. Martinez smiled warmly, handing over Oliver's things. "Oh, and Lily?" Mrs. Martinez pulled her aside. There's a gentleman who's asked about you. He comes by sometimes to pick up his nephew and... Well, he's mentioned you a few times. Lily blinked, surprised. What kind of questions? Nothing weird, Mrs. Martinez assured quickly. He just said you always seem rushed, stressed. Wanted to know if there was anything he could do. Very respectful, very kind. I thought you should know. Lily felt a flicker of something she hadn't allowed herself to feel in a long time. Curiosity. Not fear, not dread. Just the quiet surprise that someone might notice her. Not as a struggling single mom or a cautionary tale, but as a woman. Lily's cheeks flushed. A stranger? Curious about her? She shook it off as she buckled Oliver into his car seat. She didn't need help. She was doing just fine on her own, more than fine. She was thriving. On the drive home, she passed by Cityview Park and made a sudden turn. Oliver loved the fountain there, and she needed a moment to decompress before diving into dinner, homework, and the nightly sleep battle. She laid a small blanket on the grass. Oliver crawled happily toward a dandelion, and for a moment, all felt calm. Her phone buzzed. Jasmine. Girl, you're not going to believe what I just saw, Jasmine said without even saying hello. What now? Lily asked, keeping one eye on Oliver. I was at Target minding my own business when I saw Mr. Wonderful himself in the pharmacy aisle. Lily's stomach tightened. Jason? The one and only, and honey, he looked rough. No Monica? Not a braid or diamond in sight, just him. And Lily, I'm telling you, he looked lost, like a man realizing something a little too late. He made some really bad choices. Lily scooped Oliver into her arms, just as he attempted to eat a dandelion he'd triumphantly plucked from the grass. I don't care what he looks like, Jasmine. I know. But, Lily, he asked about you. The words hit sharper than she meant them to. What? I was wearing my hospital badge. He saw it and asked if I knew you. When I said yes, he got this look in his eyes, asked how you were doing. I told him you were doing amazing, which you are, Jasmine emphasized, and he just nodded, walked away. But I swear it looked like he wanted to say more. Lily closed her eyes. That old ache stirred in her chest, the one she'd tried so hard to bury. Even after all this time, even after everything. Part of her still missed the man she thought she'd married. It wasn't about wanting him back. It was the grief of realizing he was never really who she believed him to be. That the dreams she'd built around him weren't just broken, they'd been illusions from the start. And grieving a future you thought was real? That hurt in a place no one else could see. It doesn't matter, she said, her voice quiet. Whatever he's dealing with now, that's not my problem anymore. I know, babe. I just thought you should know. After they hung up, Lily sat back down on the blanket, watching Oliver explore the grass in front of her. A young couple strolled past, a man with his arm gently wrapped around his partner's shoulders, both laughing at something on her phone. The sight caught Lily off guard. The sudden pang of loneliness cut deeper than she expected. She'd been so busy, surviving, so focused on building something stable for Oliver that she'd forgotten how much she missed sharing the small things. Oliver's first wobbly steps, the funny faces he made when trying new food, the quiet peace of his sleeping body resting on her chest. And maybe, just maybe, she missed the feeling of being seen, of being someone's person, not out of obligation but choice. Excuse me? Lily looked up. A man stood just a few feet away, holding the hand of a toddler who looked to be around 3. He was handsome in a quiet, unassuming way, medium height, warm brown skin, and thick black hair streaked with subtle gray at the temples. He wore thin-framed glasses that he adjusted slightly as he spoke. Sorry to bother you, he said with a friendly smile, but aren't you Lily? From Little Sprouts Daycare? Recognition clicked. You must be Elijah's uncle, she said, remembering what Mrs. Martinez had said about the kind man who'd asked about her. Nathan Carter, he replied, offering a handshake. And this is Elijah. We've seen you a few times, and I just thought I'd finally say hello. Up close, his eyes were a soft brown, genuine and kind. He wore a simple navy polo, the sleeves casually rolled, effortless but presentable. This is Oliver, Lily said, lifting her son slightly. Oliver immediately reached toward Nathan, babbling something that resembled hi. Well, hey there, buddy, Nathan said warmly, letting Oliver grab onto his finger. He's beautiful. You must be really proud. There was something in his tone, in the way he looked at Oliver, not just politely, but like he actually mattered. Lily's throat tightened unexpectedly. Thank you, she said softly. Uncle Nate, can we go to the playground now? Elijah tugged at his hand. Nathan turned to Lily. Would you and Oliver like to join us? Elijah would love a little buddy to play with. Lily hesitated. Her instinct was to politely decline, to stay inside the safe perimeter she'd carefully built around her life. But Oliver was already reaching toward Elijah. And something about Nathan's calm, sincere smile made her want to say something she hadn't in a long time. Yes, that would be nice. She heard herself agreeing as they strolled toward the playground, Nathan adjusting his glasses thoughtfully. Lily couldn't shake the strange sense that this chance meeting might be the start of something meaningful. What scared her most wasn't the idea that Nathan might eventually hurt her. It was the terrifying possibility that he wouldn't. The coffee shop on Elm Street had quietly become their weekly tradition, though Lily still wasn't sure how it had happened. 3 weeks had passed since that afternoon in the park, and somehow Nathan had become a calm, steady presence in her otherwise carefully controlled life. She sat across from him now, Oliver happily gnawing on a soft pretzel in his high chair, while Elijah sat nearby, focused on his coloring book. So let me get this straight, Nathan said, adjusting his glasses in that thoughtful way of his. You're working full-time at the hospital, taking night classes and raising Oliver solo. When exactly do you sleep? Lily laughed as she stirred her coffee, the motion almost automatic. Sleep is overrated, she said with a smirk. Besides, I've got a color-coded schedule on my phone that keeps everything moving. Of course you do, Nathan grinned. Let me guess, Capricorn? Is it that obvious? You literally just arranged the sugar packets by shade while we were talking, he said, nodding toward the perfect little row of pink, blue, and white on the table. She glanced down and laughed, a little embarrassed. I like order. It makes me feel in control. Nathan's tone softened. Control is important, he said gently, especially when someone's taken it away from you. Lily looked up, her smile faltering slightly. They hadn't talked about Jason, not directly, but Nathan wasn't clueless. A single mom burning herself out didn't just happen. I should probably get going, she said, reaching for her purse. Oliver's due for a nap and I have assignments to finish. Nathan's hand brushed against hers lightly, pausing her. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable, he said. I care. About you, about Oliver. The word care hung in the space between them like a bridge she wasn't sure she was ready to step onto. Oliver chose that moment to toss his pretzel on the ground, shrieking with laughter at his own mess. Let me get that, Nathan said, already up, grabbing wet wipes from his own backpack. Elijah went through a throwing phase too, totally normal. Lily watched him calmly clean up the mess, no sighing, no judgment, just calm, practiced ease. He didn't make her feel overwhelmed or incapable. He just helped. When was the last time someone had simply helped her? Nathan, Lily began, then paused. How could she explain that kindness felt like danger, that every gentle gesture made her want to trust again, and trust wasn't something she could afford to give? Her phone buzzed with a new message. Without thinking, she glanced down and immediately regretted it. An unknown number. But the tone? Unmistakable. Saw you at Cityview Park last week, with some guy? Moving on already? Guess you really are as easy as Jason said. Lily's hands began to tremble. Monica, she'd been watching, following her. The thought made her stomach turn. Everything okay? Nathan asked, sliding back into his seat. Lily forced a smile, quickly deleting the message. Yeah, just work stuff. But Nathan's eyes, calm, steady, picked up the tension in her voice. Lily, if someone's bothering you, it's nothing I can't handle, she said too quickly, her voice sharper than intended. Instant regret bloomed in her chest. I'm sorry, I'm just tired. You don't have to apologize for being human, Nathan replied gently, and you definitely don't have to handle everything alone. Before Lily could say anything else, Elijah tugged on Nathan's sleeve. Uncle Nate, can Lily and Oliver come to my birthday party next weekend? Please? Nathan looked a little embarrassed. Elijah, buddy, remember what we talked about? Grown-ups make their own plans. But I want them to come, Elijah said with stubborn certainty. Lily's nice, and Oliver is my friend. Lily felt something warm spread in her chest. When was the last time someone had wanted her around simply because they liked her? What kind of party is it, she asked. Dinosaurs, Elijah shouted. With a bouncy house and everything. Nathan chuckled, adjusting his glasses. It's just a small thing. At our house, my sister will be there with her kids, a few families from Elijah's preschool. Nothing fancy. Lily looked at Oliver, who was clapping his hands at Elijah's excitement. He didn't get many chances to play with other kids, and Nathan's invitation, it felt real. Not out of pity or politeness, but simply honest. We'd love to come. The words surprised even her. Elijah cheered, and Nathan's grin lit up his whole face. Really? That's great. Saturday at 2? As they gathered their things and walked to their cars, Lily felt lighter than she had in months. But just as she clicked Oliver's car seat into place, another text buzzed through. Enjoy your little playdate, but remember, some of us know where you really belong. She deleted it instantly, but not before Nathan saw her face shift. Lily, Nathan said as they reached her beat-up Honda Civic. I know we haven't known each other long, but if you ever need anything at all, please call me, okay? He handed her a business card. Carter Medical Technologies. Nathan J. Carter, CEO. Lily stared at the card, realizing she'd never once asked what he did for work. You own a company? She asked, eyebrows raised. It's not as impressive as it sounds, Nathan replied with a modest shrug. We develop software for hospital systems, management tools, and tech stuff. Honestly, it's kind of boring. That's not boring at all, Lily said, thinking instantly of her healthcare administration classes. That's exactly the kind of stuff hospitals desperately need. Nathan's face lit up. You really think so? Most people glaze over the second I mention system optimization or workflow algorithms. Lily smiled, genuinely fully, for the first time in days. This wasn't the forced politeness she'd worn like armor. This was interest, connection, something real. For the first time in what felt like forever, Lily felt truly engaged in a conversation that wasn't about survival. It was about purpose, passion, ideas. Are you kidding? She said. Do you know how much time we waste on outdated interfaces? We could free up so many resources for patient care with better tech. They stood between their parked cars, Oliver dozing quietly in his seat, Elijah still playing with a plastic stegosaurus nearby. And for that moment, Lily felt something she hadn't felt in over a year, an intellectual connection. Nathan didn't just listen, he asked questions. He valued her thoughts. He made her feel not just heard, but understood. Like her experiences mattered beyond just the role of mother or survivor. I should probably let you go, Nathan said finally, glancing at his watch. But would you maybe want to grab coffee again sometime? Just the two of us. No kids. Just to talk. The question lingered in the air, equal parts hope and hesitation. Lily thought of Monica's cruel messages, of the emotional debris she was still working to clear, of all the reasons this might be a mistake. Then she looked at Nathan, at those thoughtful eyes behind his glasses, and heard herself say, I'd like that very much. Later, as she drove home with Oliver sleeping peacefully in the back seat, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that she was at a crossroads. Behind her was the wreckage of a marriage, the betrayal, the years of just surviving. Ahead of her, uncertainty, but also possibility. Her phone buzzed. A message from Nathan. Thank you for saying yes to both invitations. You made Elijah's day, and mine too. For the first time in what felt like ages, Lily fell asleep with a smile. The dinosaur decorations in Nathan's backyard were so elaborate that Lily half wondered if he'd hired a professional party planner. Colorful pterodactyl-shaped balloons floated from every tree, and a massive inflatable T-Rex loomed next to the bounce house, where a chorus of laughing children bounced like popcorn. Lily stood near the patio, holding Oliver, and feeling out of place among the other parents dressed in effortless designer athleisure. You made it. Nathan's voice came from beside her, and his easy smile immediately eased the tension in her chest. He wore khakis and a button-down shirt with the sleeves casually rolled up, looking like the embodiment of quiet confidence. This is incredible, Lily said, gesturing around. It's like a mini Jurassic Park. Nathan laughed. Elijah's been planning this since last year. I might have gone a little overboard on the execution. Just then, a woman approached, tall, poised, with warm brown eyes that matched Nathan's. You must be Lily, she said, her smile kind. I'm Lydia, Nathan's sister. I've heard so much about you. Lily blushed. Nice to meet you. And this handsome boy must be Oliver. Lydia cooed at the baby, making silly faces until Oliver giggled. Elijah hasn't stopped talking about his baby buddy, all week. Right on cue, Elijah came bounding toward them in a grass-stained dinosaur costume. "Lily, Oliver, come see the fossil dig." Nathan had actually created a sandbox filled with buried plastic bones for the kids to excavate. Lily watched, awed. Oliver's eyes widened with fascination as Elijah excitedly explained the excavation activity to him, despite Oliver being clearly too young to understand a word. "You're really good with him," Lily heard Nathan say softly as he moved to stand beside her. "He's easy to love," Lily replied, before immediately regretting her word choice. Love. Everything felt loaded these days. Every exchange like a minefield. "Nathan," a voice called across the yard. Lily turned. A tall woman in designer jeans and a pristine white blouse walked toward them, blonde hair perfectly curled, untouched by the summer heat. "I can't believe you put all this together," the woman gushed. "Corporate life must really be suiting you." "Hi, Melissa," Nathan said, his tone noticeably cooler. "Lily, this is Melissa Thompson. We used to work together." Melissa's gaze swept over Lily's budget sundress and off-brand sandals with barely concealed disdain. "And Lily is," she prompted. "A friend," Nathan replied, stepping subtly closer to Lily in a way that felt almost protective. "How nice," Melissa said, smiling with her mouth but not her eyes. "And what do you do, Lily?" "I'm a nurse," Lily said, lifting her chin. "At Denver General." "Oh, how noble," Melissa replied, the false sweetness in her voice cutting sharp. "And this little one, he's yours?" Her eyes flicked to Oliver, her tone bordering on scrutiny, not warmth. "He looks just like you." There was something in the way she said it, not quite a compliment, more like a test. Before Lily could formulate a response, Elijah came dashing over, hands covered in dirt and eyes sparkling. "Uncle Nate, I found a T-Rex tooth. Can Lily and Oliver come dig with me?" "Of course they can, buddy," Nathan said, ruffling Elijah's hair. "Why don't you show Oliver the sandbox?" As they walked toward the excavation area, Lily could still feel Melissa's stare boring into her back. She'd met women like Melissa before, glossy, confident, and trained to view women like Lily as either pitiable or a threat. "Don't mind Melissa," came Lydia's voice beside her, falling in step. She's been trying to get Nathan's attention for years. Seeing him actually interested in someone else? Probably killing her. "We're just friends," Lily said quickly. Lydia gave her a look, a mix of amusement and sharp sisterly insight. "Honey, I've known my brother for 37 years. I've seen him date for 15 of those. He doesn't look at anyone the way he looks at you." Before Lily could respond, her phone buzzed. She checked the screen and felt her stomach plummet. It was a photo, blurry but unmistakable, of her and Nathan sitting together at the coffee shop, clearly taken without their knowledge. The message attached read, "Looks like someone's playing house. Cute. Hope your new boyfriend knows what kind of damaged goods he's getting." Lily's hands began to shake. Someone was watching her, following her, taking pictures. The intrusion hit harder than any of Monica's earlier jabs. "Everything okay?" Nathan asked, noticing her face. "Fine," Lily replied automatically, though even to her own ears it sounded off. Nathan studied her for a moment, then gently touched her elbow. "Lydia, can you watch Oliver for a sec? I want to show Lily the garden." He guided her toward a quiet corner of the yard where bright summer flowers lined a small pergola. "Lily, you look like you've seen a ghost," Nathan said gently. "What's going on?" Lily stared down at her phone, hesitating. Part of her wanted to tell him everything, about Jason, about Monica, about the lingering fear that her past might poison anything good trying to grow in her life. But another part, the part that had learned to survive by staying silent, resisted. "It's complicated," she said at last. "Most important things are," Nathan replied, adjusting his glasses in that thoughtful, steady way. "Lily, I know this is all still new, but I care about you. About Oliver too. If someone is threatening you—" "It's not threats," Lily interrupted, then instantly regretted it. Nathan's expression turned serious. "What kind of messages?" Against her better judgment, Lily handed him the phone. She watched as his eyes scanned the latest message, saw the way his jaw clenched, the shift in his normally soft features that revealed a much firmer core underneath. "This is harassment," he said quietly. "And taking photos without your permission? That's not okay. This person is escalating. Have you gone to the police?" "It's not that simple," Lily replied, taking her phone back. "It's connected to my ex-husband, his girlfriend. I don't have any proof." You don't need proof to deserve to feel safe, Nathan said, his voice low but unwavering. And you shouldn't have to go through this alone. Laughter from the kids drifted over from the party, a jarring contrast to the heaviness that had fallen over them. That familiar shame crept back over Lily's shoulders, like she was too messy, too broken for someone like Nathan to take on. I should probably go, she said softly. I don't want to ruin Elijah's party. You're not ruining anything, Nathan replied gently. But if you want to leave, I understand. Just promise me you'll be careful, and call me if anything happens. Lily nodded, unable to speak as she gathered Oliver and made her quiet goodbyes to Lydia. As she passed Melissa, the woman gave her a smile filled with thinly veiled curiosity. Leaving so soon? Melissa asked. I hope everything's all right. Everything's fine, Lily replied, though she could see the speculation behind Melissa's eyes. As she fastened Oliver into his car seat, Nathan appeared at her side. Lily, wait. He pressed a small device into her hand. A panic button. It's connected to a private security service. If you feel unsafe, just press it. Nathan, I can't accept this. Yes, you can, he said firmly. Please. If not for you, then for my peace of mind. As Lily drove home, Oliver happily babbling about dinosaurs in the back seat, she couldn't stop thinking about Nathan's face when he read that message. Not judgment, not pity, but something stronger. Protective anger. On her behalf. When was the last time anyone had been angry for her, instead of at her? Her phone buzzed again as she pulled into her apartment complex. Enjoy your little rich boyfriend while it lasts. Men like him don't stay with women like you. Trust me. I know, Lily whispered, staring at the message on her screen. Then she glanced down at the small panic button Nathan had given her. For the first time since this nightmare began, she didn't feel utterly alone. And somehow, that realization, that sense of safety, felt like the most dangerous thing of all. 1 year and 3 months after the worst night of her life, Lily stood in front of her bathroom mirror, barely recognizing the woman staring back. She'd traded the perpetual messy bun for soft waves that framed her face. The dark circles under her hazel eyes had finally faded, but more than that, her posture had changed. Shoulders back, chin lifted, confidence, hard-earned, and real. Tonight was her first real date with Nathan. Butterflies fluttered in her stomach, but she felt ready. The messages from Monica had mysteriously stopped 3 weeks ago, right after Nathan had quietly hired a private investigator. He never gave her the specifics, and Lily never asked. But when he mentioned that certain individuals had been strongly advised to cease their activities, the relief was so immense it made her dizzy. For the first time in over a year, she could check her phone without dread. You look beautiful, Mama, Jasmine said from the living room couch, where she sat entertaining Oliver with his favorite stuffed stegosaurus, a gift from Elijah that he now refused to be without. That man is going to forget how to breathe when he sees you. Lily smoothed the fabric of her soft blue dress, one she'd splurged on using her tax refund. It wasn't for work. It wasn't for practicality. It was for her. You're sure about this babysitting thing? She asked for the 5th time. I can call Nathan and push it back. If you cancel this date, Jasmine cut in, her colorful scrubs rustling as she turned toward Lily, I will physically drag you to that restaurant myself. You deserve this. You deserve happy. The doorbell rang and Lily's heart stuttered. Through the peephole, she saw Nathan standing there, shifting his weight nervously, a small bouquet of wildflowers in hand. He wore a navy blazer over dark jeans, simple, classic, unmistakably him. Hi, Lily said, opening the door, suddenly feeling shy. Hi yourself, Nathan replied, his warm brown eyes lighting up as they met hers. You look, wow. Just, wow. These are beautiful, Lily said, accepting the flowers. They were humble, thoughtful, so unlike the showy roses Jason used to send after every fight. Noah, Nathan called, spotting the toddler peeking out from behind Jasmine's legs. Oliver toddled over, arms raised, eager to be picked up. At 15 months, he was walking with confidence and had developed a clear bond with Nathan, who never failed to meet him with genuine joy. You be good for Aunt Jasmine, okay? Nathan said, lifting Oliver high into the air until he giggled. We'll see you in a few hours. As they drove through downtown Denver, Lily felt herself easing into the easy rhythm of conversation that had become second nature with Nathan. He'd picked a cozy little Italian spot in the city's historic district, the kind of restaurant with checkered tablecloths and garlic bread baking in the air. "I have a confession," Nathan said once they were seated, adjusting his glasses in that familiar, thoughtful way. "I've been wanting to ask you something for weeks, but I wasn't sure how." Lily's stomach fluttered. "What kind of something?" "There's a position opening at my company, Director of Healthcare Innovation," he said carefully. "You'd work with hospitals to implement our tech systems." He paused, eyes searching hers. "The salary, it's more than triple what you're making now at the hospital." Lily froze, her fork suspended midair. "Nathan, I can't." "Before you say no," he interjected, "just hear me out. I've seen the way you talk about healthcare systems. Your ideas, your passion. This industry needs someone like you. Someone who understands both the tech and the people behind it." "But people will think I hired the most qualified candidate," Nathan said gently but with conviction. "I've been trying to fill this role for 8 months. I was close to hiring someone from Boston until I met you. This isn't charity. This is me recognizing brilliance." Lily looked away for a moment, blinking hard. No one had ever said that to her before. Not even Jason in their best days. Recognition, not pity. Respect, not obligation. Her heart beat faster, not from romance but from the unfamiliar feeling of being truly seen. Lily looked down at her hands, torn between excitement and fear. Part of her, the practical, goal-driven part, was screaming yes. It was a dream role, financial stability, a chance to make real change. But another part, the side that had been burned before, held her back. "What if it doesn't work out?" she asked quietly. "Between us?" Nathan reached across the table and gently took her hand. "Then you'll still be phenomenal at your job," he said, "and I'll be professional enough to separate personal from business. But Lily," he adjusted his glasses, "I'm hoping it works out. I'm hoping for that very much." There was no pressure in his words, only possibility. He didn't want to rescue her. He wanted to walk beside her. That distinction mattered more than he could possibly know. The raw honesty in his voice made her chest tighten. "I need to think about it." "Of course. Take all the time you need." They were sharing tiramisu when Lily's phone buzzed. Jasmine's name flashed on the screen. She answered instantly, nerves spiking. "Lily, honey, don't panic." "But there's been a situation." Lily was already reaching for her purse. "What kind of situation?" "Someone came by your apartment about an hour ago. A woman. She was asking neighbors about you, showing them pictures on her phone. Mrs. Ramirez from next door called me. She remembered seeing me with you." Lily's blood ran cold. What did she look like? Tall, black, long braids, dressed to the nines. Mrs. Ramirez said she seemed off, agitated. She kept asking if you lived alone and if you had help with the baby. Nathan was watching Lily closely, his demeanor shifting the moment her expression changed. Without needing to ask, he signaled for the check. "Jasmine, is Oliver okay?" Lily asked quickly. "He's fine," Jasmine reassured her. "Fast asleep. But Lily, I think you should stay somewhere else tonight, just to be safe." The drive back to her apartment was tense, quiet. Nathan's jaw was clenched, his grip on the steering wheel tighter than necessary. When they pulled into the lot, Lily spotted a police cruiser already parked near the stairs. "I called them," Jasmine explained as they rushed up to the apartment. "Better safe than sorry." Officer Rodriguez was young but thorough. He took careful notes as Lily explained everything. Every message, every photo, every suspicious appearance. But when she mentioned Jason's name, something shifted in the officer's expression. "Ma'am, we've had recent calls related to a domestic disturbance at an address on the north side. Same last name as your ex-husband." Lily felt Nathan's hand wrap around hers. Calm, steady, grounding. "What kind of calls?" she asked. Neighbors reported shouting, crashing sounds. The woman at the residence even called in a noise complaint about her own apartment last week, then hung up when dispatch tried to get more information. After the officer left, Nathan turned to her, his eyes unwavering. "You're not staying here tonight," he said. "You and Oliver are coming home with me." "Nathan, I can't." "You can," he said, firmer this time, "and you will. This woman came to your building, asked your neighbors questions, showed them pictures. That's stalking. She's escalating. My house has a security system. Cameras. It's safe. Please, Lily, don't argue on this." Lily glanced around the small apartment she had fought so hard to reclaim. It felt like giving up, like losing ground. But then she looked at Oliver, still asleep in Jasmine's arms, and her heart made the decision for her. "Okay," she whispered. As she packed a small overnight bag, Jasmine pulled her aside. "Girl, that man is in love with you." The deep, serious, no-joke kind, and the way he just stepped in like it was the most natural thing in the world, that's the real deal. Lily nodded, unable to speak. As Nathan carried their bags to his car, Lily realized that if someone had told her a year ago that she'd be protected like this, cared for like this, she wouldn't have believed them. But as they drove through the Denver night, Oliver sleeping in his car seat, and Nathan quietly focused on the road beside her, Lily realized something she hadn't dared to admit before. She was finally ready to believe she deserved to be loved. 2 years after Oliver's birth, Lily stood in the glass-walled conference room of Carter Medical Technologies, presenting the latest innovation metrics to a panel of hospital administrators. Her fitted navy skirt and cream blazer were a far cry from the worn scrubs that had once defined her. She clicked to the next slide, detailing a 30% reduction in patient wait times at Denver General. She caught Nathan's proud smile from the back of the room. "These improvements represent more than just efficiency gains," Lily was saying, her voice steady and sure. "They represent real lives, patients receiving care faster, families spending less time in fear, and healthcare teams who can focus on healing instead of paperwork." The applause felt almost surreal. 6 months into her role as Director of Healthcare Innovation, Lily had implemented systems now being studied by hospital networks across the Rockies. The frightened, exhausted woman who once gave birth alone seemed like a ghost from another lifetime. After the presentation, Nathan approached with 2 cups of coffee, adjusting his glasses the way he always did when he was thoughtful. "I think you just convinced St. Luke's to upgrade their entire network." Dr. Hansen seemed interested, Lily replied, accepting the cup gratefully, though the budget concerns might slow them down. "Then we'll figure out a way that works for them," Nathan said simply. "That's what we do, solve problems." Lily smiled. He always said we now. Over the past months, their professional dynamic had become as seamless as their personal one. They challenged each other, complemented one another, built something stronger together than either could have done alone. "Lily?" Nathan's assistant, Kayla, appeared in the doorway. "There's someone here to see you. Says it's personal." A chill slid down Lily's spine. It had been years since the stalking incident, years of silence. She had nearly convinced herself it was all over. "Did he give a name?" Nathan asked, instantly catching Lily's tension. "Jason Evans, says he's her husband." Lily's stomach dropped. Her hand clenched tighter around the coffee cup. "Ex-husband," she corrected automatically. Nathan's jaw tightened. "Tell him Miss Cooper is unavailable." "No," Lily said softly. "It's okay. I'll see him." "Lily, I need to face this, Nathan. I need to know what he wants." Jason was waiting in the reception area, and Lily's first thought was how different he looked. Gone was the smug confidence. His blonde hair was a mess. His blue eyes were red and sunken. The expensive suit he wore sagged on a body that looked like it had shed weight quickly. He looked defeated. "Lily," he said as he stood, "you look incredible." "What do you want, Jason?" she asked evenly, her tone crisp, professional. "I need to talk to you. About Oliver. About everything." He looked around at the polished wood floors and the modern design of the Carter Medical lobby. "This is some setup," he muttered. "Your boyfriend must be doing well." "My partner," Lily corrected coolly, "and what we do or don't do is none of your business anymore." Jason winced at the word. "Lily, I know I messed up. I know I hurt you, but I'm trying to make things right. You're 2 years too late for that." "Monica left me," he said. Then the words spilled out in a rush. 6 months ago, she took everything and disappeared. The apartment, the car, maxed out my credit cards. I've been living in a motel off Route 36. Lily felt nothing. No satisfaction, no pity, no triumph. Just nothing. "I'm sorry to hear that," she said calmly, "but I don't see how it involves me." "I want to see my son," Jason said. And there it was. The real reason he'd shown up. "I want to be part of his life." The laugh that escaped Lily's lips was bitter. "Now you want to be a father? After leaving us in the delivery room? After telling me he was a mistake?" "I was scared," Jason said, desperation creeping into his voice. I was stupid and scared, and Monica convinced me that I didn't need the responsibility. But I've had time to think, Lily. I've realized what I lost. You didn't lose anything, Lily said evenly. You threw it away. Big difference. Please, just let me see him. Let me try to make this right. Lily studied the man she had once loved, once trusted, once believed would be the father of her children. He looked hollow, desperate, like a man just beginning to grasp the cost of his own decisions. But all Lily felt was closure. Oliver doesn't know you exist, she said softly. He calls Nathan Dada and has never once asked about his biological father. He's happy, safe, loved. I won't upend that just to ease your guilt. But I am his father. No. Lily interrupted, her voice steady and strong. A father is someone who shows up, who changes diapers at 3 in the morning, who kisses scraped knees and reads bedtime stories. A father is someone who chooses to be there every single day, not just when it's convenient. Jason's face collapsed in on itself. Lily, please. I know I don't deserve it, but I'm begging you, give me a chance to prove I've changed. The time for second chances was 2 years ago, Lily said. I'm not going to risk my son's emotional well-being on the possibility that you might stick around this time. What about legally? I have rights. Do you? Lily asked, her tone still calm but with unmistakable steel beneath the surface. Because according to my attorney, a father who abandons his child and makes no effort to contact or support him for 2 years doesn't have many rights left, especially when that child has a stepfather ready and willing to adopt him. The color drained from Jason's face. You're gonna let him adopt Oliver? Nathan loves Oliver like his own. He's been more of a father to him in 18 months than you were in 18 hours. Lily straightened her posture, eyes unwavering. And yes, when we get married next spring, Nathan will be adopting Oliver. Officially. Married? Jason swayed slightly. Getting married? Lily held up her left hand, where a simple yet elegant diamond ring caught the golden afternoon light through the office windows. Nathan proposed last month, she said quietly. On Oliver's 2nd birthday, actually. He said he wanted to make it official, that we're a family. Silence stretched between them, heavy with the weight of choices made and consequences lived. Finally, Jason nodded slowly. I guess I'm too late. You were too late the moment you walked out of that hospital room, Lily said, her tone gentle, not cruel. But Jason, I hope you find what you're looking for. I really do. I hope you find peace. I just won't sacrifice my family's peace to help you find yours. There was no anger in her words, only calm clarity. It was the peace that came from rebuilding brick by brick after everything had fallen apart. He had once held her whole world in his hands, and he'd walked away. Now she stood before him, whole again. But not because of him. Because of herself. As Jason walked toward the elevator, his shoulders sagged under the burden of regret. Lily didn't feel triumph, only completion. This wasn't a victory, it was closure. The final period on a chapter that had defined her pain for far too long. Everything okay? Nathan's voice came softly behind her. Lily turned to find him watching her, concern and unwavering love in his warm brown eyes. Behind him, through the expansive conference room windows, the Denver skyline stretched toward the Rockies, an entire world she had built from dust and heartache, now shining. Everything's perfect, she said, and meant it. Nathan adjusted his glasses, reading her carefully. He's really gone? He's really gone, Lily confirmed. And Nathan, I'm ready to set the wedding date. His smile lit up the entire lobby as he pulled her into his arms. Right there, in the heart of the company they'd built together, Lily felt it. For the first time since Oliver was born, she felt free. The spring breeze carried the scent of blooming cherry blossoms as Lily walked through Civic Center Park, watching Oliver chase after pigeons with wobbly determination and peals of laughter. At 2 years old, he was sturdy and strong, his legs catching up with his spirit. 3 years had passed since that devastating night in the hospital, and Lily could barely recognize the shattered woman she had once been. Her hair now fell in soft, confident waves around her shoulders. She wore a tailored wrap dress, fitted, professional, earned. Not borrowed, not faked, earned. Mama! Bird, Oliver called, pointing triumphantly at a particularly fearless pigeon. I see it, baby, Lily laughed, waving to him, her engagement ring glinting in the sunlight like a crown of quiet victory. The wedding was only 2 months away. Every detail felt like a tribute to the life she had built from the ground up. She didn't need perfection. She had earned her peace the hard way, and peace, she learned, was louder than any apology ever whispered too late. She was checking her phone for Nathan's dinner text when a voice stopped her cold. Well, look what we have here. Lily turned slowly. Rachel Alana Rivers. And the transformation was jarring. Gone was the polished elegance and calculated perfection. Rachel's once impeccable braids were pulled back into a limp, uneven ponytail. The designer wardrobe had been replaced by a faded dress that hung awkwardly from her frame. Her once radiant face was gaunt, the confidence long gone, replaced by desperation. "Rachel," Lily said, her voice steady though her pulse roared. "Don't sound so surprised to see me," Rachel said, her tone still dripping with that old venom, even if her appearance betrayed the truth. "Been keeping track of you. Hard not to, when your picture-perfect story is splashed all over LinkedIn." Lily instinctively moved closer to Oliver, who had paused his pigeon chase to peer between the two women. "What do you want?" "What do I want?" Rachel let out a laugh, but the sound trembled on the edge of hysteria. "I want my life back, the life you stole from me." "I didn't steal anything from you." "Didn't you?" Rachel stepped closer, her eyes wild, the fury in them unfiltered. "You played the victim so perfectly. Poor little abandoned wife with her perfect baby. You manipulated everyone into feeling sorry for you." Lily felt a surge of rage rise in her chest, pure and hot and blinding. "Manipulated?" "Rachel, I was abandoned in a delivery room. I worked 3 jobs to keep a roof over my son's head while you were sipping champagne and posting selfies from 5-star restaurants with my husband." "Your husband?" Rachel's voice jumped an octave. "He was never really yours." "You want the truth, Lily? Jason was planning to leave you before you even got pregnant. The only reason he stayed was because I told him to wait until after the baby was born." The words hit like punches, sharp and targeted, but Lily held her ground. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I want you to know every ounce of pain you felt was because of me," Rachel snarled. "Every tear, every sleepless night, every time you thought, 'What did I do wrong?' That was me. I orchestrated every moment of your suffering." Her smile was feral now. "And now look at you, playing house with your rich boyfriend, pretending you're some sort of saint." "Nathan is not my boyfriend," Lily said calmly. "He's my fiancé, and he's going to adopt Oliver." Rachel's expression twisted with fury. "You think you won? You think you deserve this fairy tale ending? You're nothing, Lily. You're nobody. Just a desperate single mom who got lucky." "You're right," Lily said, and Rachel blinked, caught off guard. "I was desperate. I was broken. I was nobody." She straightened her shoulders, felt the strength of every woman who had ever risen from the wreckage of her life. "But I didn't get lucky, Rachel. I got strong." Rachel scoffed. "You call latching on to the first man with money who gave you attention strong?" "I call surviving strong," Lily replied, her voice rising. "I call raising a child on my own, going to school and working full-time strong. I call building a career from scratch strong. And I call loving a man who loves me back, for who I am, the strongest thing of all." Rachel's composure finally cracked. Her mouth trembled, her eyes shone, not with triumph but defeat. "You have no idea what I've lost because of you," she spat. "Jason left me with nothing. I live in a studio apartment in Commerce City, working a call center job. Everyone thinks I'm the villain in your perfect sob story." "You are the villain," Lily said simply. "Not because of what happened to me, but because of what you did. You chose to pursue a married man. You chose to encourage him to abandon his pregnant wife. You chose to harass me for years. You made those choices, Rachel. Own them." For a second, Lily thought Rachel might strike her. Her hands were clenched, her face twisted with years of bitterness and self-pity. But then Oliver, who had been quietly observing the exchange from nearby, ran to Lily and wrapped his little arms around her legs. "Mama okay?" he asked softly, his wide brown eyes filled with concern that looked so much like Nathan's. Lily bent down and picked him up, holding his solid little body close to her chest. "Mama's okay, baby." When she looked back at Rachel, Lily saw something that might have been recognition. Not just of who Lily had become, but of what she had built. A child, a family, a life. Something earned, something real, and something utterly, irreversibly outside of Rachel's power to destroy. You know what the difference is between us, Rachel? Lily said softly. When my world fell apart, I used the pieces to build something better. When yours fell apart, you looked for someone else to blame. Rachel stared at her for a long moment, at Lily, composed and calm, and Oliver, safe in his mother's arms, both of them surrounded by the quiet armor of love, and something deeper, peace. And then, without another word, Rachel turned and walked away, her shoulders curled inward in defeat. Lily watched her go, not with triumph, but with sorrow, for what Rachel could have been, for what she had chosen to become. Then Oliver tugged on the small silver pendant around her neck, the one engraved with their wedding date, a gift from Nathan, and Lily smiled. "Ready to go home, sweetheart?" she asked. "Dada home?" Oliver asked hopefully. "Yes, baby. Dada's home. He's making us dinner." As they walked back toward the car, Lily's phone buzzed. "Nathan, how did the meeting with your lawyer go? Can't wait to make it official. You, me, and Oliver Carter. Love you both." Lily smiled as she typed back, "Perfect. Everything is absolutely perfect." And for the first time in her life, she meant every word. The past no longer had teeth. The future stretched ahead, sunlit, open, and filled with the quiet beauty of peace, possibility, and belonging. She had everything she'd ever wanted. The morning sun streamed through the stained glass windows of the lakeside chapel, casting soft colors across rows of people who had chosen to love Lily Cooper exactly as she was. 4 years after the night that nearly broke her, Lily stood at the altar in an ivory dress, her hand in Nathan's, about to become, officially, exactly who she was always meant to be. "You're shaking," Nathan whispered, adjusting his glasses and squeezing her hand. "Happy shaking," Lily whispered back, unable to stop smiling. At their feet, Oliver stood in his tiny tuxedo, solemnly holding the ring pillow with both hands, taking his job as ring-bearer very seriously. The past year had been filled with changes, beautiful ones. Lily's innovations at Carter Medical Technologies had been adopted nationwide. But the most important growth was this: watching Oliver become a confident, joyful little boy, wrapped in the secure love of two parents who had chosen one another and him with complete intention. "Dearly beloved," the minister began, and Lily felt herself fully grounded in the moment. Gone was the woman who once stared at her phone, waiting for the next cruel message. Gone was the exhausted mother working night shifts to prove she could do it all alone. In her place stood a woman who knew her worth, and who had created something enduring from the ruins of betrayal. "Lily and Nathan have written their own vows," the minister continued. Nathan cleared his throat, looking directly into Lily's eyes. "My Lily," he began, 4 years ago, you walked into my life, carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, and still somehow you lit up every room you entered. You taught me that love isn't about grand gestures or perfect timing. It's about choosing each other every single day, especially on the hard days," Nathan said, his voice growing steadier, more assured. "You've shown me what real strength looks like. It looks like a woman who rebuilt her entire life for her child. It looks like someone who turned pain into purpose and fear into fierce protection for those she loves." He glanced down at Oliver, who was grinning up at them with pure joy. "And Oliver, buddy," Nathan said, voice catching, "I promise to love you like my own son, because that's exactly what you are. You're stuck with us now." Lily was crying openly, makeup forgotten, as she stepped forward to deliver her vows. "Nathan, the night Oliver was born, I thought my life was ending," she said, her voice trembling. "I didn't think I'd ever trust again, love again, be enough for anyone again." Her voice grew stronger. "You didn't just prove me wrong, you showed me that the right person doesn't complete you. They celebrate who you already are." She glanced toward their gathered friends and family, Sarah dabbing at her eyes while stopping Marcus from escaping his chair, Lydia holding her twin daughters, Patricia, Ethan's mother, watching with quiet, steady pride, and colleagues from Carter Medical Technologies who had become more than just co-workers. "You loved me when I was broken," Lily said, turning back to Nathan. "You loved me while I healed, and you love me now that I'm whole. But most of all, you loved Oliver from the very beginning. Not because you had to, but because you wanted to. You gave us both the greatest gift, a family built on love and choice, not obligation." Then she knelt, lowering herself to Oliver's height. "And you, my sweet boy," she whispered, "you saved me. Every day you remind me that light can come from even the darkest places, that love grows when we give it away, and that the future is always brighter when you've got someone's hand in yours." As they exchanged rings, Oliver clapped so enthusiastically it drew laughter from the entire chapel. And when the minister pronounced them husband and wife, the little boy's cheer rang out louder than anyone else's. Nathan kissed Lily, sealing the new chapter of their lives with a promise made in love and resilience. The reception was held at a lakeside bistro, warm and inviting, with the kind of laughter only shared by people who had walked through fire together. Lily watched as Oliver spun in dizzy circles with Marcus until they collapsed in a heap of giggles. Her heart swelled so full, it felt like it might burst. "Mrs. Carter," Nathan said, slipping beside her with 2 flutes of champagne. "Mrs. Carter," she repeated, savoring it. "I like the sound of that." Nathan smiled, adjusting his glasses in that way she now found endlessly endearing. "Sarah told me something earlier," he said. "Ethan showed up at Northwestern Memorial last month." Lily felt the familiar stir of anxiety, but it faded just as quickly. That version of her was long gone. "And what did Sarah say to him?" she asked calmly. "She told him you were exactly where you belonged and to stop living in the past." Nathan's smile was warm. "Sure. And Lily?" Lily felt free. "She also may have mentioned that your husband owns a security company and wouldn't appreciate any further contact." "You own a security company?" Lily asked, amused. Nathan smiled, then shrugged modestly. "I own several companies, actually. One of them handles corporate security consulting." His tone shifted, more serious. "But Lily, if he ever bothers you again—" "He won't," she said with quiet certainty. "And if he does, we'll handle it together. That's what partners do." As the evening wound down, Lily found herself on the restaurant's terrace, looking out over Lake Michigan. The water stretched endlessly toward the horizon, dark, mysterious, and somehow comforting. Behind her, Chicago glittered like a constellation of endless possibilities. "Mama!" Oliver called from inside, where Nathan was helping him tie his shoelaces properly. "Look, I did it!" Lily smiled, watching her husband, praise their son with genuine pride and affection. This was the life she had built from nothing. This was the family she had created through sheer determination and the courage to believe she deserved love. Her phone buzzed. For a split second, old habits made her tense. But it was just a LinkedIn message from a hospital administrator in Boston asking if she'd consider consulting on their patient experience initiative. She deleted it without reading further. Tonight wasn't about work, or the future, or anything beyond this perfect present moment. Tonight was about celebrating how far she had come and the beautiful life that lay ahead. "You ready to go home?" Nathan asked, appearing beside her with a sleepy Oliver in his arms. "Yes," Lily said, looking at the 2 most important people in her life. "Let's go home." As they drove through the glowing streets of Chicago toward their house, where Oliver's artwork covered the refrigerator, where Nathan's books filled the shelves, where Lily's favorite coffee cup lived beside the kitchen sink, she thought about the journey that had led her here. She had started as Lily Ann Cooper, a woman shattered by betrayal and heartbreak, unsure she even deserved joy. But now she was Lily Ann Carter, a woman who knew happiness wasn't something you were given. It was something you built, piece by piece, day by day, with people brave enough to build it with you. The scared woman who once gave birth alone was gone, forever replaced by someone who knew her worth, claimed her power, and chose love over fear, every single time. And that, as she watched Nathan carry Oliver upstairs to bed and followed them inside their home, was the greatest victory of all. 5 years later, Lily Carter stood in her corner office at Carter Medical Technologies, the Chicago skyline reflected in the floor-to-ceiling windows behind her. It mirrored her own reflection back, a woman transformed beyond recognition from the broken girl who had once cried alone in a delivery room. On her desk sat a framed photo, her family at Oliver's 7th birthday party. Nathan, his arm around her waist, both of them laughing at something Oliver had said. Their matching wedding rings caught the camera flash. Beside it, another frame showed Lily on stage, receiving the Healthcare Innovation Award from the American Hospital Association, with Oliver and Nathan beaming in the audience. "Mama, you ready?" a voice called from the doorway. Oliver, now 7 and already carrying Nathan's thoughtful demeanor, stood holding his backpack, that same confident smile on his face, the kind of smile worn by children who've never had to question where they belonged. "Almost, sweetheart," Lily replied, saving the patient care report she had been reviewing. Her work had grown far beyond Carter Medical Technologies. She now consulted with hospitals nationwide, helping them implement systems that prioritized both efficiency and compassion. Mrs. Carter, her assistant Jenny, appeared behind Oliver. "Your interview with the Chicago Business Journal is confirmed for tomorrow at 2. They want to discuss your keynote speech at the National Healthcare Conference." Lily nodded, still marveling at the trajectory her life had taken. Next month, she would address over 3,000 healthcare professionals on the topic of transforming crisis into innovation, a presentation born directly from her own journey, from abandonment to empowerment. The drive to Oliver's school took them through the South Side neighborhood where Lily had once lived in that tiny apartment, surviving on little more than hope and determination. That building now housed a community center that she and Nathan had funded, offering free childcare and job training for single mothers. "There's Dada," Oliver called out as they pulled up to the school. Nathan was waiting near the entrance, having just dropped off Marcus, now a high schooler and working part-time at Carter Medical Technologies while maintaining a 4.0 GPA. "How's my favorite patient care expert?" Nathan asked, kissing Lily gently before lifting Oliver into a big bear hug. "I'm not a patient care expert," Oliver giggled. "I'm a kid." But it was clear he was proud of his mother's work. As they walked Oliver into his classroom, Lily noticed a young woman nearby, struggling with a crying baby and a toddler clinging to her leg. The woman looked exhausted and overwhelmed, wearing worn scrubs that marked her as someone likely working a hospital shift. Her expression was one Lily recognized intimately, the look of someone trying to hold everything together while feeling like she was falling apart. "Excuse me," Lily said gently, approaching her. "Are you okay?" The woman looked up, tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry. My babysitter canceled last minute and I have to work a double shift, and I don't know what I'm going to do." Lily exchanged a glance with Nathan, who gave a supportive nod. "What's your name?" Lily asked. Maria Gonzalez. I work at Northwestern Memorial in the ER." "Maria, I'm Lily Carter. I used to work in the ER at Northwestern too." Lily handed her a business card. "Call me after your shift. We have resources that might help, and I know exactly how overwhelming this feels." Maria stared at the card, then at Lily's kind, calm face. "Thank you. Thank you so much." As they watched Maria hurry inside with her children, Nathan wrapped an arm around Lily's shoulders. "She reminds me of someone," he said softly. "A very stubborn nurse who once thought she had to handle everything alone." "Did she learn better?" Lily asked with a smile. "She did." Later that night, as Lily tucked Oliver into bed in his room, filled with dinosaur posters and colorful artwork created with his dad's gentle encouragement, she thought back to the phone call she had received that afternoon. Maria had called, grateful, hopeful, and ready to accept help from someone who truly understood. "Mama," Oliver said sleepily, "why do you help so many people?" Lily smoothed his dark hair and kissed his forehead. "Because a long time ago, someone helped me, and now it's my turn." "So much like her own," Lily replied, considering the question seriously. "Because someone helped me when I needed it most, and because when we lift each other up, everyone gets stronger." "Like how Dada helped us?" Oliver asked, his eyes wide with understanding. "Exactly like that, sweetheart." Downstairs, Nathan was reading in his favorite chair, glasses perched on his nose, unconsciously adjusting them as he focused on a book about emerging medical technologies. He looked up as Lily entered, and his smile was the same one that had captured her heart in that coffee shop years ago. "Good day?" he asked, setting his book aside and opening his arms. Lily settled beside him on the couch, fitting perfectly into his side as she had for the past 5 years. "Perfect day," Maria called. "She's going to start at the community center next week. 3 other women from her situation have already signed up for the program." "You know what that means," Nathan said, kissing the top of her head. "What?" Lily asked. "It means the girl who was once told she wasn't strong enough is now teaching other women how strong they really are." Lily closed her eyes. feeling the truth of those words settle into her bones. The woman who had been abandoned in her darkest hour had become a beacon of hope for others facing their own storms. The mother who had once feared she couldn't provide enough for her son was now creating opportunities for countless families. That night, as she lay in bed beside the man who had loved her back to wholeness, listening to the peaceful sounds of their son sleeping down the hall, Lily thought about the young woman she had once been, scared, broken, convinced she wasn't worthy of love or success. If she could go back and tell that woman anything, it would be this. The pain you're feeling right now isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning. Every tear you cry is watering the ground where your new life will grow. Every night you lie awake wondering if you're strong enough. You are. You're stronger than you know, braver than you feel, and more deserving of love than you've ever imagined. Your worth isn't determined by who stays or who goes. It's determined by who you choose to become when everything falls apart. And the woman you're going to become, she's going to be extraordinary. The betrayal that broke you will become the foundation of wisdom that helps you heal others. The abandonment that left you alone will teach you to build a family based on choice, not obligation. The struggle that exhausts you will become the strength that transforms lives. Don't give up, don't give in. Your happily ever after isn't a fairy tale. It's a masterpiece you're going to create with your own hands. As sleep finally claimed her, Lillian Carter smiled, knowing that somewhere in Chicago a young mother like Maria was tucking her children into bed, holding on to hope, because someone had reminded her that she wasn't alone. And tomorrow, there would be another mother, and another. Each one discovering that the end of one story could be the beautiful beginning of another. The cycle of healing had become the cycle of hope, and that was the greatest transformation of all. So that's how the story ends, huh? If you're still here with me right now, my incredible friends, then something in this story must have touched your heart in its own quiet, powerful way. Now let's take a breath together. Not to judge, not to blame, but to see things from a place where there's no right or wrong. Just truth, just reflection, just healing. You see, life doesn't always hand us what we expect. Sometimes it offers us the exact opposite. A betrayal, a heartbreak, a goodbye we never saw coming. But as the Stoics remind us, the obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The story you just experienced wasn't just about pain. It was about reclaiming identity. About someone rising, not with vengeance, but with dignity. Because healing is not a straight road. It's messy, it's lonely, but it's real. And you, just like her, are allowed to rise again. So maybe this is your reminder. That the very moment someone walks out of your life might be the same moment you walk back into your own. That strength isn't always loud, it's quiet. It's in the choice to keep going, even when everything feels broken. If you felt seen, heard, or understood in any way, don't let this message stop with you. Like this video, share it with someone who might need a little hope tonight, and subscribe for more stories that go beyond the surface. Let's keep showing up, for ourselves, for each other. Until next time, take care of your heart.